Yo, what's up, guys? So I wanted to talk about a very simple thing that I learned last year. Very simple and very valuable and important lesson. It's to not create or get enemies. Do not get on someone's bad side. Even if you dislike a person, even if that person is someone you don't have respect for, you don't like, you want nothing to do with, please, for the love of God, do not disrespect someone. Do not treat them poorly. It's gonna come back to you and it's gonna bite you in the ass. I can explain how with a tangible example. So, back in 2021, I would say specifically 2022, I was living in a housing cooperative and the whole housing cooperative was in financial shambles. So I was in the board as well, so I was calling all the financial shots and what we were going to do to solve all these problems and so on and so forth. And on that board, I was working alongside a woman. This woman, I didn't like her. I thought she was annoying. She was the biggest Karen in the world, always complaining, always, nagging about bullshit, coming knocking at my door late in the evening, talking to me for like 15-20 minutes when I don't want to talk to her. And eventually, I let that get the best of me, and I started kind of lashing out on her, and I started being more passive-aggressive towards her, and I got on her bad side. In the beginning, she liked me, she had no problems with me, but as time went on, as I lived there for longer and longer and worked longer alongside her, she started disliking me more and more because I wasn't cooperative with her. I didn't want to help her with simple things, and obviously that caused her to dislike me. She didn't like me as much anymore. Then when I got my apartment sold, finally, and I got out of that housing cooperative, I left the board and everything, I got my money and I split. I was later sued very shortly after I sold the apartment, not house, and left over the keys and everything. It was like 11 days after that I got sued. I've also done a video about this, but I just want to draw it back to that specific example. Just 11 days later, I got sued, and then she volunteered to be a witness for my counterparty, to witness against me. Obviously, during her witnessing, she didn't come up with anything tangible as to why I had a right to be sued. Because the lawsuit was about me allegedly not being honest with certain parts of the selling agreement, which turned out not to be true because I won the case. But that's a whole nother story. Again, I made a video on that. And she was going to witness against me as to how I was guilty to this, or however you want to call this. But she just spoke out of emotion, and when she was witnessing, she was just speaking out of emotion and how she had a dislike for me. So obviously she didn't have anything tangible to say. Nothing she said could even be of downside to me in that case. However, it's still very important to be able to avoid things like that, because had I not been on her bad side, she wouldn't testify to begin with. She wouldn't be a witness to begin with and testify against me. So I could have increased my chances of winning. I still won the case, but I increased the chances of losing by having someone testify against me, especially someone that I was working alongside for a little bit of time, right? So I learned that after she testified against me on that lawsuit, I just learned that there is no reason to treat people poorly, even if you don't like them, even if you're not a big fan of them and you just genuinely dislike them. Just be kind to them, be courteous to them, be polite, be respectful, and it won't come back to bite you in the ass. I'm a huge and firm believer in not making enemies. I don't want to create any problems with anyone. I always mind my own business. I never treat anyone poorly unless they give me a very strong reason to treat them poorly. There are a few people who have given me that reason before, but she was not one of those people. I had no reason to treat her poorly. I had no reason to be passive aggressive towards her. Yes, she was very annoying. I couldn't help myself. Like, she was just annoying the hell out of me. She was very needy, naggy, quite stupid, to be honest, very emotional, very incompetent. That made me dislike her quite a lot. And I couldn't hide that towards her. So I was very passive aggressive towards her, and I treated her poorly. I shouldn't have done so. She honestly didn't deserve it. I could have been kinder and more respectful towards her, even if I don't like her. That would have caused me or saved me a lot of headache. Because with her testifying against me, that also came with a little bit of worry. Like, what is she going to say in court? Is this going to be something that can fuck me over? Does she have some tangible proof in this? Like, what is she going to say in court that can be of downside to me? So I was worried about that. Obviously, she didn't have anything to say. She just spoke out of emotions of how she actually disliked me and how I wasn't helping her and how I wasn't cooperating with her. So she wasn't coming up with anything tangible. But it could have been far worse. She could have actually said something that could have gotten me in a lot of trouble, and that increased my chances of losing the case. So I could have avoided this by just being kind towards her and by just being respectful. For me, it's like, for most of the time, there's no reason to be disrespectful towards someone unless they deserve it, unless they cross a line to the point where they actually deserve the disrespect. I have a few people like that in my life, specifically one. I'm not going to talk about it right now, but I'm going to talk about it in the future video. But most people, they don't deserve that disrespect. It's like, so you might as well just be respectful towards them, because you don't know how that's going to bite you in the ass. So the point of this video is, if you're this kind of person that makes enemies, that you get on the bad side of other people, that's not going to do you well. Even if you don't like those individuals, please don't get on anyone's bad side. It can fuck you up in the future. It can screw you up legally. Something can happen to you. Maybe they know someone and have powerful connections, dangerous connections, and they can get you killed or whatever. Like, you don't know people. You don't know how far someone is willing to go to screw you over. Because people are petty. Some people, when they're disrespected, they can get very, very petty. And they'll go to large lengths just to screw you over. Just as she did. All I did was disrespect her. Shit, I can't even speak. All I did was disrespect her, and I was passive aggressive towards her and treated her poorly. But that was enough for her to go to those lengths of trying to screw me over and testify against me when she had nothing tangible against me in court. So you see, it's not worth it. In my opinion, just swallow your pride. If you have something against someone, swallow it. Don't show that you dislike them. Don't make new enemies. It's just gonna hurt you in the long run. So unless you have like a really good reason to be disrespectful towards someone and treat them the way they deserve to be treated, then it's not worth getting into it. Just leave it alone. Move on with your day. Don't let your emotions get the best of you, and do better than what I did in that case, because that mistake could have cost me a lot of money. But fortunately, I won the court, I won the case, so that was that. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to talk about that. If you're that kind of person that, you know, gets on the bad side of other people, please stop doing it. It can actually harm you way more than you think. Even if you have something against them, maybe you don't like them that much, it's not worth it, in my opinion. Just, you know, be the bigger person. Unless they, like, if they truly don't deserve it that much, and it's like not really a big deal of trying to get back to them, or, you know, try to screw them over or disrespect them or anything like that, it's not really worth it. Just leave it alone. Most people don't really deserve it, even if they're annoying, stupid, and just, you know, just annoying overall. And, you know, you want to kind of not treat them good. And you don't have any you don't want to treat them good, basically. It's not worth it. Just be the bigger person, and you'll potentially save yourself a lot of headache. But yeah, that was just my rant on this topic, and as always, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.